this doc could have been it's great. It could have been so much better if we got some behind the scenes look at how Mike goes to sleep and you catch him sleepwalking, climbing out of another window, crashing through. I think it'd been fantastic if it just turned into an
It was
office style
discussed.
doc. Hey guys, thank you for joining me, Jesse, Eddie. I very much appreciate this.
Well, thank you for
Thanks.
doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too, of course. I guess I want to start with Eddie. This is a very big project, at least in my eyes, to the very least. And how I guess the my biggest thing is how did you approach starting to direct this big project and making sure things come off sincere and funny and like even have teachable learning moments for the audience.
Well, I have great love and respect for comedy and comedians. And I really, in all my documentary work, you hope to create a comfortable and safe space for people to express themselves. So,
Mhm.
um, uh, comedians, of course, have a great BS detector. So you especially want to make sure that you're approaching their world with genuineness and authenticity and curiosity, and then you feel lucky when they open up and when people want to let you in. And I think the result is, as you mentioned, teachable moments that you get an incredible look at the process of crafting comedy.
Mm, mm. And Jesse, as a producer on the project, but also somebody who wrote a book about comedy and does a podcast about comedy, where did your eyes come in on the project, and how did you want to make it something that can be accessible?
Sure, yeah. I mean, I think my perspective on it is that as a person who sees a lot of comedy, I feel like I have an insight and a perspective on what it looks like when people are working on material, and I sort of have a fascination and love for that. I find that to be kind of the most special part of stand-up comedy. And so when Mike got involved, or I was trying to figure out like how can we make sure we capture whatever that would be and have people understand what the work goes into it without sort of like weighing it down with like literally seeing a person writing in a journal for like 45 minutes straight.
Yeah, yeah, I think that'd be good. That's kind of what podcasts are now, is just people going, shooting the shit back and forth, and then someone going, "Oh, that's a good one. That'd be a good bit."
And
What were there? Did either of you take any inspiration from any other comedy documentaries or long form versions of comedy projects in order to help make this, or did everything just kind of come together organically?
I think there are some great documentaries about comedy. Certainly, many are looks back, right? They're historical in a sense. They're looking at a comic who's passed on, or and looking at their body of work. I think what excited us was to kind of get in there and film something as it happens. I love cinema verite and capturing things as they unfold. So I think that was exciting to come in at a pivot point for a comedian trying to figure it out, as opposed to either celebrating a great success or at the end of their career.
Hmm. And
yeah, and I would add that, very early when Eddie and I spoke, we talked a lot about food documentaries and not comedy because again, we felt the comedy documentaries has fallen into a pattern. It was a lot of talking heads and a lot of clips and stuff where we felt there had been developed a vocabulary with food documentaries where you're really seeing people work in a way and you see how ideas come together. And Eddie has experience in food docs and we're like, hey, what would be like that for comedy? Can we see how minds work and get in there and not have it just be sort of like a person talking directly to the camera, then some footage of them performing X, then another person talking to camera performing X.
it's I think one of the bigger issues with not issues, but one of the bigger steps to overcome when doing a comedy documentary or just a movie about a stand up is when to include jokes and how to include the jokes, and knowing that, like for this one, it's Mike building a set, and having that be something that people need to understand, that this isn't the finished product and you're seeing the skeleton before we put the meat onto the human, if that is how our good Lord makes people. Is it at what point do you, Eddie, to take things out and decide to show what, or decide not to show? How does that help you as a director, and how do you want to work that for Mike?
Well, I think, in the show, it's sort of at its most exciting when sort of the joke that, a joke that Mike is working on or doing on stage is then explored behind the scenes and also dovetailing with his life, right? When those three things are all in sync, it's really pretty exciting. And so it became clear to us, watching him work out new material, oh, these jokes, the ones that are personal in different ways, or the ones that are, let's say craft driven in different ways, just fit into the story that we were interested in, with this nexus of process and personal. So they kind of revealed themselves, pretty clearly to us, I would say.
Hmm. Jesse, as somebody who talks to a lot of comedians or comedy adjacent people, like you talk to the Bassem Youssef or Hassan Minaj and every other manner of comedian, and you write about them as well. Do you has comedy kind of lost its luster, or do you ever find that you're examining things in such a way, like this documentary, you're looking at the building blocks and going, this is how the joke works, and I understand it, and it's funny to me, or can you just let yourself laugh at any moment?
Yeah, I would say sort of the opposite. I don't know if I can continue to do that if that was the case. I think I find myself, because I think I am able to watch comedy on a deeper level, because I have an understanding of how certain things are happening or how complicated things are or when things are special, that when I do feel like a comedian is doing something exciting, I'm able to laugh quite a bit. I do think, if anything, I've become more impatient with worse comedians, or more, not even worse comedians. I understand people are developing. I think I've
Right.
become more impatient with people I think are approaching it cynically and kind of not doing things they're interested in, but are doing things that they think might make them famous or get them, a certain sort of attention. And that I have a very low tolerance for that.
Mhm.
But if a comedian's like approaching their audience with an open heart and open mind, and the audience is doing the same, I'm very easily able to get on board.
You're right. Yeah. With Mike, I've seen everything he's done, and he's now kind of just transitioned into a comedic TED Talk speaker, where he's telling hour and a half long stories that all intertwine, and the jokes are there, but there's also a lot of heart, which really works for him because he's a very sincere person. Uh, but then there's, as you said, other cynical comedians who aren't very funny in cases that I've seen a lot, and they rely on crowd work and they want to get famous on TikTok, and that's their whole thing shtick. Uh, as a producer, as a director, how do you fit in this new world of crowd work? I know Mike doesn't do it explicitly, but how do you fit in this new world of crowd work into an audience that kind of almost expects it at this point, because that's their version of comedy now?
Yeah, I mean, I would personally say there's always been a thing like this, right? Whatever crowd work videos represent now, there's been a version of that throughout the entire history of comedy, of something that comedians see that they can do as a way of sort of bypassing the process of working and building an audience more organically. And I think, if anything, my goal is to try to push back upon that force as much as possible, and just be like, this is what it looks like when people are putting more work into it. This is why it is special, and trying to teach younger audiences, or people with less familiarity with comedy, this sort of vocabulary of understanding why something might be better than the other, and understanding why maybe some of these crowd work clips are not really as complicated or hard as they seem, and you're basically seeing someone doing a fairly easy magic trick. Not to discredit all crowd work comedy, but I think a lot of it is just sort of like trying to build a more savvy audience. I like to say this Papa John's saying is better pizza, better ingredients make better pizza, and I say better audiences make better comedy. I think comedians respond to an audience that is demanding more of them.
I like it. I like it. Do you have anything to say about that, Eddie?
Oh, I was just going to bring it back to food docs and tie Jesse's metaphor together and say better audiences make better pizza, but I don't think that tracks. So
Well, guys, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I very much appreciate this. This is a fantastic chat to get behind the scenes of a behind the scenes of comedy.
Yeah.
But I just want to say a quick thing. You know, it could have this doc could have been it's great. It could have been so much better if we got some behind the scenes look at how Mike goes to sleep and you catch him sleepwalking, climbing out of another window, crashing through. I think it'd been fantastic if it just turned into an
It was
office style
discussed.
doc.
It was discussed.
it was.
That's all we can say. It was discussed. It is a lot to ask to, can we film you sleeping?
Without the sleeping bag, without the restraints, without anything, that'd have been great.
Oh, that we definitely couldn't do. Hey, can you risk your life for our doc? I think we really respond to it.
All right, guys. Well, thanks again. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Bye.